I just filmed the intro to this video, and then I got like a coughing fit. I don't know, I've been coughing and sneezing a lot since I got back home, but it has been a little while since I made a video. 2 weeks, give or take, maybe a little bit longer. I had been talking about in several of my previous videos, the trip I was going to take to go see my family. We just got home from that last night. We were gone for a week, and it was nice. But there's a lot to it, sort of, I guess. I mean, like, not really, but it seems like a lot. So I'm going to tell you guys about that. It may have to be a 2-part video. Both my children are napping currently. They will probably be up kind of soon, and also because there's enough that happened that it's a whole week's worth to talk about. So this may be part one. So let's just get started. So we left on a Monday morning, and we were off to a bad foot already. I told my husband I wanted to leave at 9. It's 3.5 hours to get to his family, because we go through. We would have to go past his family anyways to get on the highway to get to my family. And we were also dropping our 2 dogs off at his mom's house to watch while we were gone, because we obviously couldn't leave them home by themselves. Excuse me. Sorry, I had like a serious tickle in my throat. Still fighting me. I also hope that my microphone and the audio recorder that I use don't die on me. I charged this for like 5 minutes, and my audio recorder shows 4 bars. So these things can hold a charge pretty good, and I haven't used them for a week and they were turned off. So let's hope it lasts, right? So anyways, we got a late start. I wanted to leave by 9, get the kids up, because they're usually up between 7 and 8. Get them fed, changed, nice and clean, get on the road, get to his parents' house, in time for lunch, and then get back on the road, because between his family's house and my family, it's 2.5 hours. So that would be a good time for my youngest to be able to get his nap in, and then we'd get to my family's at dinner time. We could eat, unpack the car, etc., etc. Well, it didn't happen that way. We didn't end up leaving until after 10:30. It was like 10:45. My husband insisted we had to go through a car wash before we went. He's like, I don't want to show up with a dirty car. And I said, honey, we're going to be on the road for more than 6 hours. If you want to go through a car wash so bad, why don't we just go through one when we get to my hometown? And he's like, I just want to do it now. And I'm like, why didn't you freaking do this last night, or literally any other time ever? So we did it that morning, and then he's like, oh, I have to send in the paperwork for his job, because they have to send it in on Saturdays or Mondays or whatever day it was, and it has to be done by noon. So then we had to stop after we got out of the car wash. We pulled into the parking lot, and then he had to send in the paperwork, and then this and that, and it was just frustrating. And the vehicle we took was the van that we just bought. We bought a 2005 Honda Odyssey. So that thing is 20 years old, and we're about to take it cross-state. I was a little nervous. It did fine. The van was awesome the whole time. Amen to that, thank God. So I'm getting kind of pissy with my husband, because I got the kids up and dressed, and I packed the car up, got the dogs ready to go. I got everything ready. Not to mention, I did all the packing for the trip, for him, for me, the kids, the animals, everything. Excuse me, I have to clear my throat again. Lord. So then he did not like the way that I packed the car, so he repacked it. We got a late start, but it was fine. We get to his family's. Well, my kids also started getting pissed off in the car maybe 20 minutes into the drive, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. We still have 6 hours to go. Please work with me. And our vehicle has a DVD player built in. It was a luxury vehicle for 2005. It's still pretty damn nice right now. But it needs a new screen, and I didn't know that. So the audio and everything worked, but the screen was black. And it's not like a cheap or difficult fix, but we were on the road, so there was nothing we could do about it. So I put a movie on my phone, and I had to hold my arm in a position for about 3 hours for them to watch the damn movie and chill out until we got to his family's house. We get to his grandmother's house, and the plan was that we were just gonna eat like peanut butter and jellies because, you know, the kids liked it. It was fast and easy, cheap, all 9 yards. Hold on, I have to clear my throat again. That's getting annoying. I'm so sorry if that's loud or disruptive or anything that falls into those two categories. We ended up getting to his grandmother's house way later than anticipated. We had to drop the dogs off at his mom's house, and then she was standing there trying to like chit chat with us, and I'm like, okay, well, we need to go over and get the kids fed because it's like an hour and a half past their normal lunchtime, and they're pissed off. They both need diaper changes, you know, whole 9 yards. And then we still, you know, need to go over and eat, do the damn thing, and then get back on the road and get to my family's house. Car rides are hard on everybody, but especially toddlers. So we dropped the dogs off, go over to his grandma's house, and she hadn't made anything. Which, like, I'm not saying, like, put Granny to work, but that was the original plan, and she had just forgotten, which is fine. So we made them some peanut butter and jellies. My husband just, like, ate something that they had, like, in the freezer. I didn't eat because I was just kind of irritated at the whole situation. I was tired, and I was like, I'll just eat dinner when we get to my dad's house. So the kids eat, and then one of his cousins drops by because she had never met our kids before. So she came in, chatted for a second. They kind of got to talking for a while, which was fine, whatever. But his grandma's house is like a death trap for kids. There were cigarettes that they kept grabbing, lighters, you know, glass figurines, ceramic, you know, figurines. It's very breakable things. Excuse me. I also choked on my coffee this morning. I don't know if this is all just a repeat of that or what. All sorts of breakable stuff. There was just like a blade, like a razor blade, sitting there that I had to snatch up really quick. And she like is always like, oh, he can't hurt anything. I'm like, no, he can. He could break about 90% of the things in your house and then hurt himself because there's glass and ceramic pieces laying around everywhere. There was just a nail sticking up in your floor that my husband found that he flattened with a hammer, and I was just like, it's like that every time we go over. I love his grandma, and she's 83. She doesn't need to have a baby-proofed house, but if she would just not leave some of that stuff laying around when we come over, that would be greatly appreciated, so I don't have to go through her entire house and do it when we get there. They also have cats. She lives with her sister, who's like close in age. They have like 3 cats together, and there's a litter box in every room of the house. And we have cats, but my children have no access to the litter box, of course. So, you know, I have to keep them away from the litter boxes because that's disgusting. And it was just a lot, and I was getting frustrated. Well, everybody was 8, and everybody was changed, and I was ready to get on the damn road and get to my family because this whole trip was about going to see my family, right? I hadn't seen them. It had been almost a year and a half since I'd last seen them. And so, as we're getting ready to leave, his aunt shows up, and I was like, okay, that's fine. We'll talk to her for like a few minutes. She'll understand that we need to get cracking because my youngest hadn't taken a nap, and he was pissed. So we talk for a minute. She takes off. His other cousin and her 4 children then show up, and I'm like, you have got to be kidding me right now. And she wants to just chat and chat and chat, and the kids just want to play, and I'm like, oh my god. So I pulled my husband to the side, and I was like, we needed to leave an hour ago. Tell them goodbye. I'm gonna start loading the kids up. Like, I'm mad at this point. And so we finally get back on the road. I was irritated. It was also extremely hot outside. We finally get back on the road. Our youngest falls asleep like immediately. I'm like, thank God, he really needs a nap. Poor dude is exhausted. My oldest is okay. He's just playing with like a book or a toy or something. You know, he's happy just doing what he's doing. We drop the dogs off so we don't have to worry about them freaking out in the car anymore. And then it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes or a little bit less depending on how fast you're going to get to my dad's house. So I'm like, okay, it's going to be kind of late getting there for the kids, but, you know, they had a late lunch. They'll have a little bit of a late dinner, and then they'll just go to bed on time, and it'll be fine. Well, my husband, so, like, the way that I usually go is I get back on I-70 for 30 minutes, and then I take a highway straight off of I-70, and then I take that for about an hour, and then I take a right, and I take that highway for about an hour, and then that's it, and then I'm in town. Well, my husband's like, well, we're gonna go the other way around because it'll save us like 2 or 3 minutes. So I'm like, whatever, that's fine, I don't care. Well, he ends up taking a wrong turn, has to slow down, pull in somewhere, flip around. Well, when he slowed down and stopped, our youngest woke up. He'd only slept for 30 minutes, and he was pissed. So then we had to backtrack and everything else, and it was incredibly frustrating. I'm so sorry, I don't know. I just got like a tickle in the back of my throat, and now I'm like clearing my throat every 30 seconds. That is super annoying. Anyways, we finally make it to my parents' house, my dad and my stepmom, and my dad's like, oh, your stepmom made spaghetti, and I'm like, oh, cool, the kids love spaghetti. Well, she had bought these like protein noodles, and they were way overcooked to the point that they were basically just mush. And those protein noodles, no matter how much sauce you put on them, did not taste good, and it felt like eating slime. It was gross. So my kids really did not eat it, so I had to make them another peanut butter and jelly, because I had hoped we would have gotten there quick enough that I could just pop over, because my dad lives like 2 blocks away from a grocery store. Pop over to the store, pick up some stuff for them, for the week, and then call it good. But we got there so late that I had to feed them, and all my parents had were peanut butter and jelly things, and they didn't have any grape jelly. It was homemade apple jelly, and they keep their bread in the fridge now. So it was a little bit unusual, but we got it taken care of, and then it was kind of hard getting my youngest to sleep in a new place, and it was a bit of a long day, but we got it done. And then that next day, Tuesday, that morning, we went to the store, and we saw my mom. She works there. I saw my mom, talked to her for a minute, and I saw my sister-in-law, because she also works there. Talked to her for a minute, picked up stuff for the week, because I had told my stepmom, she's like, I have to get milk anyways. What do the kids drink? And I said, whole milk. We used to get them A2 milk, and we stopped getting A2, and we get Fairlife. Either is fine. There's nothing wrong with either. If we're like a little bit strapped for cash that week, we'll get just a regular gallon of whole milk, because it's like half the price. And so I was like, whole milk, just regular whole milk is fine. So she's like, oh, well, I got 2%. And I'm like, why did you ask if that's just what you were gonna get anyways? So I was like, whatever, 2% will work for a night, but then the next day we're gonna go get whole milk. It was just kind of dumb. Anyways, so that Tuesday we go to the store, pick up some food and snacks and drinks for them for the week. Chit-chatted a minute, went back to my dad's house, unloaded it all. Fed the kids. Tuesday wasn't like a super eventful day, I don't think. My husband, I think that was the day he made, my husband made his homemade chicken Alfredo. Yeah, that was the day, because we bought all the stuff for it and he made it that night. He made his homemade chicken Alfredo, and it was super good. My kids would not eat it, so they got chicken nuggets. Wednesday. Yeah, Tuesday was kind of uneventful. Also, I should mention, the entire time we were there, but especially Tuesday to Sunday, was so windy. So I grew up in southwest Kansas, where we were at. Super freaking windy and insanely hot. It was 100 degrees and like 60-mile-an-hour winds all week. We live in Missouri now. We live in a different state. We live in the KC Metro, and it doesn't get windy like that here, and it's a super horrible dry heat there. I used to think the humidity heat was worse. But super dry heat mixed with wind, it's killer. And I didn't realize how bad my allergies were gonna be until I was there. It was horrible. My entire face was like stuffy and hurt and itchy. It sucked. Excuse me. So then Wednesday we went over to my mom's house. She only lives like 4 minutes from my dad. Went over and saw her and my stepdad. They moved into a new house recently, and I hadn't been there before, so I checked all that out. Tuesday night, no, it wasn't Tuesday night, sorry. This just happened, but there was a lot of stuff going on, so we went over there. She'd made us breakfast. She made French toast and eggs and sausage and She cut up some fresh fruit for the kids, strawberries, blueberries, grapes, the whole 9 yards. All sorts of drinks and snacks for the kids. And they played around, had some fun. And then my brother came over with his kids, and they all ran around and played for a minute. But my youngest was PO'd because he was tired. He woke up really early that morning. So we had to leave kind of early. We were going to stay and have lunch with her, but we had to leave at like 11:15 to go back over to my dad's so he could just go straight down. I gave him a snack and then put him down for a nap. And then a little bit later, our oldest had lunch. He's 3, so sometimes he naps, sometimes he doesn't. But my youngest, he's not even 2 yet, so he naps every day still. And my dad got off work early on Wednesday, so we just did stuff with him around the house. And I made him a deal because we were staying with him for an entire week. And even though they asked us to stay, I was like, I'd feel like a moocher if I didn't help you around the house. So I did the dishes and took out the trash and like cleaned the kitchen and swept every day and stuff. And my husband cooked dinner a few times, or well, he cooked it once and I cooked it another time and stuff like that. So just trying to help the cause, you know. And then Wednesday night, my mom usually goes to bed pretty early because she has to go to work early in the morning, so we didn't go back over. Wednesday night, we had like a little birthday party for my oldest. His birthday was at the beginning of June. And I had made mention before that normally my dad and stepmom would come up here, but we figured since we're going to be there 10 days later, that would just be a waste of gas and time. So we'll just do it when we get there. So my stepmom got a baby shark cake made. So we had cake and pizza and stuff, and it was nice. My kids were both tired and cranky the whole time, so they went to bed nice and early, but that was okay. Also, the original plan was that our oldest would get my dad has 3 bedrooms upstairs. One of them now is just a storage room, which kind of sucks. So my oldest got the queen size bed, and we put up a bed rail, and he loved it. He just got into a big boy bed. He has a twin XL, but he was really loving that queen bed. And then my youngest, they put a crib in the far room that he was staying in, and there's another full bed in there. But those rooms get super, super hot. So both the kids had fans and ceiling fans on them all night, and they were dressed really light. And I was not about to try to sleep in there because he was kind of hard to put down, and he's so used to having his own room now that it just wasn't going to work. And it's also fucking hot in there. He had 2 adults, and my husband's a big snorer. So it just wouldn't have worked like I thought. So they blew up an air mattress for us. And instead of putting it downstairs in the basement where there is ample room and it's dark and cold, they told us that we could sleep in the middle of the living room, which kind of sucked because my stepmom, she's a very nice lady, but she just doesn't have a lot of common sense. So me and my husband would be like, because we were doing stuff every single day out in the heat, the whole 9 yards, and we'd both be like, hey, we're super tired. The heat is really taking it out of us, and the kids are in bed. We're about ready for bed. She would just be like, oh, okay. Because we could not set the air mattress up because it was right against the couch and the TV stand that my dad has. We had to get into the air mattress from the bottom and crawl up it, which is no big deal. But she'd be sitting on the couch, and we obviously can't just squish her with the air mattress. She'd be like, oh, okay, I'll head down to bed soon. And it's their house. Totally. But she would try to have full conversations with us, and we're barely awake. Can't bring the air mattress out until she leaves, and she did this several times. My dad's like, you need to get out of their way. They need to go to sleep. And she's a teacher, and she was doing summer school, so she had to be up at 6 in the morning. My dad's like, why are you even staying up bothering them? You need to go to bed just as bad as they do. And it was a bit frustrating. And also sleeping on an air mattress is not the best sleep in the world. I didn't sleep super great the entire week. I slept really good last night in my own bed, but it was a bit rough because she would get up at 6 in the morning and then just sit on the one spot of the couch that you could get to, and she'd sit there and play on her phone and have the lights on and stuff, and it's dude, take your ass back downstairs or go sit at the kitchen table or something. Damn it, let me sleep. Anyways, Thursday morning, we went to the zoo. My husband had never met my friend that lives back home. They know all about each other. I talk about them to each other all the time, but they'd never actually formally met. So we all went to the zoo, walked around, had a really nice time. It wasn't really windy that morning. It was warm. Like, it was definitely hot, but it wasn't super windy that day, with, like, thank God. And the zoo has some misters and they had sprinklers going, so, like, it was actually pretty nice. We spent a good 2 hours there. The kids were tuckered out when we got home. They ate lunch and they both went straight down for a nap, and it was really, really nice to see her. That was wonderful. Then Thursday evening, what did we do? I don't actually remember what we did Thursday evening. I don't think we went anywhere else. Like, we just stayed at home. I think we just stayed at my dad's house and hung out. So Thursday evening, my stepmom, she has a part-time job at Starbucks. She had to go to work at like 5. And she worked from like 5 to 10:30. And then my dad got off like a quarter after 5. He's a courier for the hospital. And my husband, his cousin, one of his cousins, and his wife and their kids live in town. And he wanted to go see them. And it's not that I dislike them, I just don't know them very well. And I was there for my family, and I had no issue with him going to see them. It was I had just suggested, I was like, hey, are you gonna see him while we're in town? He's like, oh, only if there's time. I had also already made plans with my dad. We were gonna go out to Five Below and buy a whole bunch of like bubbles and hacky sacks and water guns and toys and stuff, because we were all gonna meet up at there's a park outside of the zoo, and we were gonna have like a big cookout that Saturday. That's the whole reason we went, is so all of my siblings on my dad's side, it's kind of like a Father's Day thing, just 2 weeks late. So if you heard that, that was just my ankle. So I told my husband, I was like, you can go see your cousin and his wife and stuff. That's perfectly fine, because I already told Dad. I was gonna go out to Five Below with him. And I told, because he was like, do you just want me to take the van? And I was like, well, if you do that, I can't go with my dad because of the car seats. So I dropped him off, came back, picked up my dad, and we went out to Five Below. There was also, somebody ran into something or whatever. So there were like 2,000 people in town. It's a town of like 30 or 35,000. So there were like 2,000 people in town that were without power only for like 30 or 40 minutes. But it was hot as a motherfucker that day. Oh my God, it was so hot. But thankfully the power kicked back on pretty quickly. So, the house didn't really have time to get super hot or anything before the AC came back on. So I was like, okay, thank God. And the AC in our van works really well. So that was nice. If we needed to, we could have gone over to like my brother's house, because it was like just a small part of the city that was without power for a little bit. But we didn't need to. Went out to Five Below, got all the different toys and stuff. My kids were being really good, so my dad bought them like 10 new, that's an exaggeration, he bought them 2 new toys each. On top of all the birthday stuff he had gotten from my son that the kids were playing with and everything else. And I was like, Dad, you really don't have to do that. And he's like, shut up, I do what I want. Okay, whatever. We get back to the house, and I didn't realize how late it was. It was already like 7 o'clock, and I was like, holy freaking moly. I needed to feed the kids 2 hours ago. What's going on? The schedules this week were all so thrown off. We're already back on track today, though, so that's nice. But we get back to the house. I can't remember what I fed the kids, but I fed them something, and my husband gets back, or I go and pick him up, and he was like, hey, have you had dinner yet? And I was like, no, did you eat over there? And he was like, no, they ate before I came. So I was like, well, my dad hasn't had dinner yet either. Let's go pick something up. So we all got Arby's, and it was stupid good. It was really freaking good. Me and my dad got the chicken strips. Yeah, and so then we all ate and hung out. The kids were in bed, or I put them to bed like right after I got my husband back home. He wanted to come home before they were asleep so he could say goodnight to them and stuff. So he was only at his cousin's house. I don't even think it was 2 hours. Said goodnight to the kids. I got them all cleaned up and stuff, put them to bed. And then we sat there and ate Arby's and hung out. And my stepmom got home kind of late, but I was zonked. I didn't hear her even come in, so I was like, okay, thank God. Friday morning, we went back over to my mom's for just a little bit. Well, it was like early Friday afternoon, was it? No, that's not right. What did I do Friday morning? Maybe it was. I can't remember. What the hell did I do Friday morning? Yeah, no, so, okay, yeah, it was like Friday early afternoon. I had gone back over to my mom's house just to say, like, bye to her, because that was the last time I was gonna have a chance to see her. So we were over there for like an hour, and then my stepmom insisted on setting up a whole bunch of like water toys outside, but it was like 60-mile-an-hour winds, and it was extremely hot. And my youngest does not like that wind in his face, because like I said, it gets like windy here, but it's not like back home windy. So like, he just did not like it. It was also 100 effing degrees outside. So I was like, you really don't have to do all that, because my youngest hadn't napped yet. So I was trying to put him down for a nap, but then she really wanted me and my oldest to play outside and this and that and blah, blah, blah. It ended up just not working well. And it was kind of frustrating, because she'd had like this little pool, and I was like, yeah, we'll splash around in this little pool for a bit. That'll be awesome. Well, the pool had a leak, but then she had this like inflatable slide thing that only my son could play in. So I was like, well, that's fine, whatever. So we went over and played in that. She's like, oh, I'm going to go buy another pool. I was like, no. Like, please don't. I don't know how long we're going to be able to be out here, because my youngest hasn't even fallen asleep yet. And because she wanted my husband, he was parked behind her, and she like conned him into taking her all the way across town to go get another pool. I was like, if you guys leave, I'm going to have to take my oldest inside with me, and we're gonna have to go inside and be done, because my youngest is not asleep, and if he starts like getting kind of pissy in there, we're just gonna have to be done, and all that shopping is gonna be for naught. And that's exactly what happened. They got back, and my youngest had gotten pissy, wasn't gonna nap, and I was like, so oh no, that's what we did Friday morning too. We went to Walmart. We had to pick up a couple of things. My husband didn't know if he was going to have time to shop here before he had to get back on the truck. So we just got some stuff from Walmart and Sam's while we were there. My youngest fell asleep in the car on the way to Walmart, and we're like, oh, you're fucking kidding me. And then I carried him all through Walmart. So he only slept for like 45 minutes. So I was trying to get him to take like a real nap, and he didn't. That's what was going on. And so, yeah, that all happened. And then I had to go back inside and get him up. So then they got back and blew up the other pool, and she's like, yeah, you guys should play in the pool and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't really want to right now. Like, I'm kind of irritated with it. It's so hot outside, and I just don't really want to do this anymore. But she went ahead and got the other pool. And it's just like a little inflatable pool. So I turned it on, and then, of course, the water was ice cold. So my youngest did not want to be in there. My oldest didn't care. He was having fun, but my youngest did not want to be in there. So I tried giving him to my husband, and he was not having that. He didn't want to be in the pool, but he didn't want to be away from me either. And he didn't want me to like hold him. He just wanted to be near me. But she set the pool up not in the grass or anything, but on like the cement patio. So I couldn't let him out of the pool because that shit was hot. So we just had to get out of the pool. And then that night we made some cookies and stuff for the next day, and I don't remember what we did for dinner, but that doesn't really matter. Just got set up for the next day. And then I tried feeding my kids, but my stepmom, I told her, I was like, I really need to have the kids' dinner done by 5:30, so I can kind of get them back onto a schedule, because I was like, my youngest is going to have to go to bed pretty early tonight, like way earlier than normal. I don't know, I think somebody's out there mowing right now. Because he didn't hardly nap today and it was super early, so he's gonna have to go to bed really early. Well, that's when she decided to make the cookies at 5, and then it took her forever to make 2 batches of cookies. And I was like, dude, come on now. Like, she's just so hurdy-durdy-dur, slow-moving. And again, I really like my stepmom, but she does things sometimes that just piss me the hell off. She's kind of in the same boat. Like, so me and my mom don't really get along super well, but we can stand being around each other if we only see each other once a year. And I haven't been around my stepmom this much since I moved out of the house like 8 years ago. So it was a lot. And then my kids ended up eating super late. My youngest was too exhausted to eat. So again, I just gave him like a snack and his milk, and I was getting him cleaned up and ready for bed. when my brother and his wife and my sister and her toddler showed up. I was like, sorry guys, but I gotta get this one to bed, and you guys need to shut the hell up, because if anybody wakes this baby up, I'm gonna shoot everybody in their goddamn faces, and I'm not kidding. And it was fine. Like, he fell asleep, and then he slept the whole night, and I was like, oh, thank God. And then her son and my son are only 2 months apart. My son's a little bit older, but he is probably 30 pounds heavier and a foot taller. I have incredibly large kids, and so they were running around playing for a while, and then I was like, okay, he's got to get to bed. So then he got all cleaned up and went to bed, and then the next day was Saturday. This was a really bad day for me, so I'm gonna give you the details you need, but try not to get too much into it, because I can make a whole video just about this day. This first half of this day. Second half was fine, but the first half of the day, we were all supposed to meet at the park, and everything was supposed to be ready at 11. Oh, sorry, my eye is itchy. Under the premise that there are going to be 5 toddlers that need to eat lunch a little bit earlier than normal people and then go back and take a nap. That didn't happen. My oldest brother didn't even start cooking until noon. So that sucked. It was also like 60-mile-per-hour winds, and we were outdoors, so you can imagine what that was like. Well, we get there, and I know that because my youngest woke up at like 6:30 that day, so we got there at like 11, and he was already ready for a nap, and I was like, well, there's a good chance he'll just fall asleep on me if I walk around for a second. We also forgot something at the house, so I told my husband, I was like, here, because my dad only lives like 4 minutes away from where we were at, so I was like, here's the house key, just go grab it, take Gibby with you, and he'll probably just fall asleep on the car, and when you get back, I'll pick him up, and he'll just sleep on me for a while. And I thought that was fine. So that was the plan. So I got me and my oldest out of the car. My oldest went to go step over a curb, slipped, and busted both of his lips open. Because I had gotten the stuff out of the car, I had gotten him out, and I let go of his hand for 1 second, and he went to go step over the curb, and I was like, honey, don't do that. And his flip-flop slid in the sand, and he went boom, and I heard the smack. Whatever was in my hands, I don't remember what it was, but I dropped it. I was like, oh shit. Picked him up, checked him out. His mouth was bleeding, and thankfully his teeth didn't go bite his tongue. He just busted his lips. He's doing fine now. He's okay, but it scared the living shit at first. So I have this big tumbler, this 40-ounce tumbler of ice water with us, and I'm pouring it on his mouth, and I have there's blood all over his shirt, all over his pants, because when you get a busted lip, it bleeds, and it was both lips. So I got him all cleaned up and stuff. Obviously it hurt, and it scared him. He just turned 3. So my dad's over there helping me, my husband's helping me, in the whole 9 yards, and we get the bleeding to stop, and we walk over to where the rest of our family's at, because we were the last ones. Dad, my arm's itchy. Oh my God, what happened? I was like, we were 30 feet away from you guys. You didn't or see that or wonder what we were all doing, huddled over my child for, because I had sat him in the passenger seat, and we were doing all this, so it was kind of dumb. But my sister had some triple antibiotics, so I had cleaned my, and my husband had gone back to my dad's house, and I asked my sister, I was like, do you have any infant Tylenol? And she's like, I think so, but she didn't. I asked my brother, I was like, do you guys have any on you, because they live in town? He's like, no, it's all at our house. And I was like, so my husband gets back to where we're at, and I was like, man, I tried calling you 3 times. I wish you would have just answered, because our dad's house isn't very far from the zoo that we were at, because we were just on the outside of store, and I'm like, if you would have just gone to the store from my dad's house, it would be a 2-minute drive, but he'd come all the way back, and then I had to send him back to the store to go get some Tylenol, because my son's upper lip was swollen as shit. Oops. It was super swollen. He had a huge fat lip. And for him, he was just sitting, and it was hot, and he was hurt. It was a lot. The flies were also biting really bad. I was wearing some jean capris, and just this much of my ankle and shin that you could see they were biting. They were getting everybody. It sucked, and my son didn't want to go play with the other kids, because he was fucking hurt and scared, and I felt so bad for him. And it took us a while, but I finally got him to eat. My husband came back with some Tylenol. I gave him some Tylenol, and then he was okay. It did not look good, and I took his shirt off because it had like a decent, it wasn't like drenched in blood, but there was blood on it, and he also had spilled some Tylenol on it, and it was just really sticky. So I took it because he was playing in like the water and stuff anyways. So after a while, he was okay, and today's just Monday, and this happened on Saturday. Swelling is completely gone. It's already like scabbed over. I've been keeping it clean, putting triple antibiotic ointment, Tylenol, like as needed, but I did it that day, and then that evening, and then once the next morning, and I don't really know if he needed it that next morning. I just gave it to him anyways, just because, to help reduce the swelling, and if it still hurt, but he doesn't need it now. He's eating and drinking, and he, I touched it today, and he touched it. It doesn't seem to even bother him anymore. So I was like, thank you, Jesus. Like that. Oh my God, I was so fucking scared. But while all that was going on, my youngest still hadn't fallen asleep, and the wind was really bugging him. He is this fat little, almost 2-year-old, and I just had him in a shirt and like a big loose shirt and a loose pair of shorts, but it was hot. The wind sucked, and it was loud. There was 20 of us there, and half of us were kids. So for about an hour, maybe longer, I tried to get him to sleep on me walking around. I put him back in the car, drove around the block a few times, and he was just screaming. So I just kind of started to freak out a little bit. I was so riled up from my oldest son getting hurt, and then my youngest, who would not let anybody else hold him. Otherwise, he would just freak out. He was kind of whining and crying when I was holding him, but that was better than him like losing his mind when anybody else tried to touch him. And my poor dad, bless his heart, he kept being like, I'll the first part of it, I was so worried about Bert, and he was scared. And as soon as he was okay enough to get up and go play after he ate and stuff, then Gibby started with his stuff. So I went and walked a little bit further away, and I just started bawling. And I was embarrassed, because I was like, I'll get it together. But with everything going on, it was just a lot. So then I went over and I sat in our van, because we had to park not very far away, but far enough that like if I was crying, nobody would see that I was crying, and I was still like rocking my kid and everything else, and they probably thought I was just wiping sweat off my forehead, So I sat back there, like I just opened the back of the van and sat in the back, and then he relaxed, and I was like, okay. He's not screaming anymore, but he's not asleep yet. So then my husband came over and turned the fan on for me. And then we went and sat up in the front for 20 or 30 minutes. I was bawling the whole time. My husband kept coming up to check on me, making sure I was okay and stuff. But it's like, yeah, I'm good. He's like, do you want me to take him now that he's calmed down? And I'm like, no, because I'm not calmed down now. Like, I'm still, my face is all puffy and red from where I've been crying. And like, after you've cried, you can hear it in somebody's voice when they're talking. And I was like, I'm worried someone's going to make fun of me and I'm going to start crying again, I'm the youngest of the 5 siblings, so I just didn't want them thinking, oh, Taryn's crying because she can't handle it, She's a bad mom, so, her first kid got hurt because she's a bad mom, and now her second kid's freaking out because she's a bad mom, and now she's crying, and I don't think any of them would have thought that, but in my head in the moment, I was like, this is a bad day. This all happened within the span of like a couple hours, too. So Gibby chills out, and then he just pops up and starts singing the ABCs, and I'm like, dude, you're supposed to be sleeping. Like, it just kind of pulled me out of the moment, like, what are you doing? But he would not go back to sleep. In that van, that AC is nice and cold, so I knew he wasn't hot or anything, but apparently he just needed like a 20-minute chill out, and then he was fine. So I went and rejoined everybody. Everybody had already eaten, the food was already getting put up and stuff, and they're like, oh, my oldest brother and my dad and my husband were like, let me make you a plate. Like, everything's still warm. I'll make you a plate. And I just, like, it had a sad moment. So, like, my appetite was kind of gone. Fat girl appetite's gone. But I didn't want anything to do with anything. I didn't even want to drink any water. Like, that I also gave myself a huge headache because the wind was killing with my allergies. My whole face hurt, and then crying on top of it. I was all dehydrated. Oh my God, I had such a headache after that. But then the kids were running around, both of them playing. They were playing in the pool, and there were all sorts of toys and stuff, so that was nice. But then like 30 minutes after that, people started to go home because it was getting kind of late. Everybody needed to nap, and the wind was killing everybody. So we took a couple of family photos, and they all kind of turned out like crap. But at least we got them, So there was that. Everybody packed up, cleaned up the area we were in. We all went to our respective places. And then both my kids slept hard. Like as soon as they got home, I cleaned them up. I put some more triple antibiotic on my son and cleaned him up. And then everybody's like, okay, well, what are we doing for dinner? Because there's going to be 20 of us in the house at any given place, And my dad's like, well, my house isn't really equipped for. So my husband, okay, I didn't think so. I thought he was at work. My house really is not equipped for 20 people. And nobody's really was. My brother that's closest in age to me, he could probably do it. But my sister's son is allergic to dogs, and he has 2 of them, and they shed a lot. So he was like, it's probably just not the best idea for them to come over, if he's allergic and everything else. So we ended up going to my dad's church. It's a church I grew up going to. And it was awesome. My kids had both slept for over 3 hours. It was a long day, but we ordered a whole bunch of pizzas. And then my dad blew up some balloons because little kids love balloons. And from like 6 until almost 9 o'clock, we were there and everybody ate. And my oldest at this point, the swelling had already started to go down. So I was like, oh, thank you, God. And he ate and drank just fine. And then he and all the other kids just ran and ran and ran and ran and played so hard. Even my youngest, who had been like incredibly standoffish to everybody, like wouldn't let my dad hold him, would barely let my husband hold him. That kid was like, it's a new place. He hadn't been there since he was 7 months old, so he has no idea who any of these people are, what this place is. My oldest has been able to be around my family a lot more, and he kind of remembers people, whereas my youngest hasn't. So it was all just, everything was completely new to him, so he was probably just freaked out. But that evening, he was running around with the other kid, and he's over a year younger than the next youngest kid, so, he's not even 2, but he was running around, playing, having the best time, giggling, going up to people. He was having so much fun. Every kid was sweaty because they were just running around, playing with each other, playing with the balloons, having like the best time of their lives. It was great. It was a really, really fun time that evening. It was wonderful. I'm so glad that day ended on a better note. My oldest was already doing much better. My youngest was a lot happier. I was a lot happier. Everybody was getting along and chit-chatting. We had some really good pizza. It was a lot of fun. And my oldest nephew, so my oldest brother and me have 15 years between us, but my oldest nephew and me have only 8 years between us, and he's my oldest brother's son. So I am 26, so he'll be 18 in November. He'll be a senior this year when school starts, and time's just going by really fast. Yeah, he is an amazing athlete, and he's an honor student. Like, he's doing so exceptionally well. I am really, really proud of that kid. And he has a girlfriend now, and he has, I think, for almost a year now. But I hadn't been home in over, like I said, almost a year and a half. So, not only had I not seen him, but I had never got the chance to meet her. But so he brought her to this thing, which was perfectly fine. She was a very sweet girl. She was really cute. You could obviously tell they were very smitten with each other. She was super nice, and I told her, I was like, it's kind of crazy because the ages we're at, he's kind of like my little brother, but I'm actually his aunt. I was like, before you guys know it, you're both going to be 26. You guys are both 17 right now. So I remember being 17 and thinking 26 was on, one foot in the grave. I was like, sometimes it feels like that, but not always. On Thursday, when we went to the zoo to see my friend, I pulled a leg muscle or something, like the side of my calf. like down into like the back of my shin, and my ankle is sore as shit, and it still is. So I got like a muscle strain or something going on. I had one before we went because I had played with my kids out in the yard for like an hour and a half solid, and our yard has a lot of holes and it's really uneven and stuff. And we were out playing in the water, and that day I was like, damn, like the side of my leg kind of hurts. What is that? And it lasted a few days, and then it went away. And then after we walked around the zoo for 2 hours, I was like, fuck, my leg really hurts. Like, what did I do to it? Feels a little bit better today. I'm not really doing much today, so I'm just kind of resting it. If it's not better in like a few days, I'll probably just ask my doctor, like, what did I do to it? But I think it's fine. Anyway, so, yeah, it was really nice. We had a really great time. Everybody did. And it was wonderful. And yeah, Saturday night was the last night. We were staying at my dad's house, so I kind of got stuff rounded up a little bit, sorted, kind of packed up, and got the kids a bath, and they went to bed a lot later than normal, but that's because I let them sleep late and everything else, but we got her taken care of. And that next morning, Sunday morning, I hear one of my kids now, we loaded everything up into our van. Everything was packed up, ready to go. We wanted to leave by about 9, and I got up at like 6:45. My husband finally started to come to life at about 7:45, and we wanted to leave about 9. But then my oldest brother, he lives like 15 minutes outside of town. He was like, "Hey, you guys still here?" I was like, "We were just getting ready to leave." He's like, "Wait, I'm gonna come over," and I'm just like, "Hurry up, fool." So then we ended up leaving way later than we wanted to because we stayed and chit-chatted with him for a little bit, and my dad always walks me out to the car, so then me and my husband had already loaded the kids up and everything. He was ready to roll, because he had asked his grandma, "Can you have lunch prepared between 12:30 and 1? She was like, "Yeah, honey, sure." And at this rate, we were going to be a little bit late, so we're like, okay, let's go. But yeah, it was wonderful seeing my dad, and then we, like I said, we chit-chatted for a while on the way out, and then we got back on the road, got to my husband's family's place, and his grandma had made minute steaks and mashed potatoes and gravy and green beans. That was so good. It was so damn good. We used to live there when my husband and I first got married. We lived there for, I think we lived there for about a year. And then when my oldest was about 7 months old, we moved up to where we're at now. But I used to go over there because my husband was already a truck driver, and his grandma would have me come over a few times a week, so that I didn't feel lonely while I was pregnant or with like a newborn, and I never did. I actually really like being alone, and it was just like me, and I was pregnant. That was fine because I could just sit in our house and like not wear clothes, and it was okay. And even when my son was a newborn, he was a very easy newborn, so it was fine. But she would always ask me to come over and have dinner with them, so I would, because she's a damn good cook, and she used to make those a lot. It's one of my husband's favorites, so she would make it all the time, and I hadn't had it for a couple years now, and I was like, damn, that was good. I didn't realize how much I liked that until I didn't have it for a while. But we did that. Thankfully nobody came over this time. His mom came over, but that was fine. We did that, hugs and kisses, whole 9 yards. Went and picked the dogs up, and then we got back on the road, and like an hour-ish down the road, we stopped to get gas because we used my mom's fuel points at a quick Kroger, it was at a Dillon's in Salina. So we stopped and used her fuel points so we could get cheaper gas. And then our dogs had to poop, so we got them out of the van and let them go potty, and then we finally got back on the road. We did stay in Russell longer than we meant to, so we got back to our house at 7:30. And so I immediately had to get the kids inside, fix them some dinner, and it was because I didn't go grocery shopping before we left because we were going to be gone for a whole week, so I was like, why would I? So I had to send my husband to the store to get some milk because we didn't have any milk for them that night. I was like, what do we have in the house that I could feed them like right now? And it was peanut butter and jellies and brown sugar oatmeal and veggie straws, some ranch veggie straws, and I also had applesauces. And I like they had some snacks while we were on the road and stuff too. And they ate obviously when we were visiting his family, so they ate really good that night. My husband got back with the milk really quickly. They had their milk. They both needed quick baths, so I gave them both just like nice quick baths. And then it was like 9 o'clock because they're usually both in bed a little before or by 8 o'clock. And at 9 o'clock is when they were in bed and stuff, but that was fine. And they didn't fight me. They went straight to sleep, which was awesome. And then they woke up, normal time, and it's been a pretty normal day. They woke up and had breakfast. They played. I had to go buy some diapers because we were just about out because I didn't go shopping before we went. But I buy them at Sam's, and Sam's is like a 2-minute drive from our house. We went right as they opened, so it was not busy on a Monday morning at 10 o'clock. Pick some diapers up. I got the rest of my groceries delivered because I did not want to go do that. I could have slept all day today. Like I said, I did not get enough sleep this entire week at my dad's house, so I'm still pretty tired, and I probably should have taken a nap while they were napping, but such is life. I had done some unpacking and other stuff since being here. Oh, sorry, I was shaking my leg since being here, so stuff that needed to get done. When they go to bed tonight, I'll go to bed and it'll be great. But all in all, it was really wonderful seeing everybody and letting all the little cousins play and everything else. It was just really nice. I hadn't seen all of my siblings together since my sister got married. She got married 5 years ago, and I was not with my husband yet. We didn't have our kids, obviously. My brother was not with his wife. They didn't have their kids. And my sister was just getting married, so she didn't have her child yet either. So all of the really young kids didn't even exist, nor half of our spouses. She's going through divorce now, but her now ex-husband is the only one that wasn't there. Everybody was there this time, and it was really, really wonderful. The kids had a ton of fun playing together, and it was just, excuse me, speaking of tired. It was just a really great time. I'd love to do it again. Where the plan is, because my dad and 2 of my brothers, this is all just my dad's side, they live back home. My sister lives in Hutchinson, and then one of my other brothers lives just like an hour away from us, and we're in the KC Metro. So the plan is because this is the first time we've ever done this, so this year we all went back home for it, and then next year we'd all go to where my sister is at, and then the next year after that they would come to where me and our other brother is at, and then just kind of flip-flop it and stuff. That's the plan. We don't ever want to do it outside in the summer like this again because it was scorching hot and super windy. So I suggested maybe during spring break or Thanksgiving break. That way the kids and everybody else can get time off, but the weather won't be absolutely horrible. We also decided we're never going to be gone for a week again. I only wanted to be there for a week this time because both my sisters and my mom also live back home, and they're not a part of my dad's family. So also my friend lives there, and I wanted to have a chance to see everybody. So that's why we stayed for so long. But it was a long time, and I missed my cats dearly. I just don't like being away from home that long. So we decided 3 or 4 days tops next time. But we are hopefully, there's a very loud car outside. Hopefully we're going to go back home again around Christmas time, and just stay for a day or 2 and then come back home. But my mother and stepdad are going to be here mid-August, and then my youngest child, his birthday is August 31st. So my dad, maybe my stepmom, but maybe not. It is on a Sunday, but my stepmom's a teacher, so she may be able to come, she may not be able to, but my dad at least will. So I'll see some of my family again in August, and my brother that lives just an hour or less than an hour away has invited us multiple times. Well, not really invited us, but has mentioned multiple times, because he's really well off. He has a very good job, and so does his wife, and they just have 1 kid, so he he's like, I have a big boat. It holds 12 people. If you guys want to come fishing, go on, because that's like his favorite thing to do. He's like, you guys can come hang out. We have a big enough house for you guys, the whole 9 yards. So maybe sometime in July. Well, he works a lot. I mean, he works extremely hard for everything he has, him and his wife both. But maybe sometime in July we can, go over and see him for a day, because that's an easy day trip. We'll figure out where my youngest will nap, and that'll be fine. There are 14 years between him and I, so we just don't really have a very good sibling connection. And he was in the Marines for a long time, so he lived like way across the United States. Like, he lived in California and Arizona and Virginia. He's only lived in Topeka for a couple years, and we've only lived here for not quite 3 now. So now that we're close to each other and things are settled down and I'm not pregnant and stuff anymore, my kids are a little bit older, it'll be much easier to go and see him. And his son, my other nephew, just turned 13 last month, so he's kind of at that like smart ass age where he likes to run his mouth, but he's not bigger than me yet. So, and he's old enough to where like if he says something stupid, I can pop his ass and it'll be fine. But he's kind of funny. He's just a little douchebag, but he's funny. So I think that would be really nice. Yeah, it was a good time. There was a lot going on, but my oldest son, he's doing much better. His lips are not swollen at all. Like I said, they're scabbed over and they're looking really good. They're causing him no pain or anything. He actually has his 3-year checkup tomorrow. The week of his birthday, his pediatrician was gone. This last week, we were gone, so I scheduled it for tomorrow. It's freaking tomorrow at 9:30. It's only like a 15-minute or less drive from our house. Like, it's not really a big deal, but it's basically just, I think he might have to get 1 shot and then just his height and his weight. But I'll tell him, yeah, he tripped and poor little man ate concrete a few days ago, but it didn't do like significant damage and he's doing perfectly fine. But I just feel like a bad mom, because in my head I was like, why didn't I like catch him when he was falling, as if I could have anticipated that, you know what I mean? Mom guilt's crazy. But tomorrow, yeah, I will, once I get his updated height and weight, I will update everybody with how absolutely massive my 3-year-old is. I love our pediatrician. It's not like at a hospital, it's its own clinic, so there's like 5 doctors that work there, and probably 10 or 15 different nurses and the 2 receptionist ladies, and we've been going there since we've lived here, so they know us pretty well, because we also have 2 kids. I had our 2nd child. I got pregnant almost immediately when we moved here, and then so they've known him his whole life, and they've known our oldest, for most of his life. They only missed like a couple of appointments with him because we live somewhere else, so they really like us there. They like how big my kids are, and my oldest is extremely friendly and personable. He loves people. He gives his doctor a hug every time, and his doctor is this really awesome, like, older guy. He's so freaking cool. Love that place. Sorry, I've been saying a lot. I'm catching myself and it's annoying me. Anywho, this video is extremely long. I am very long-winded, but there was a lot going on that I felt like I needed to inform you guys with, because it had been a minute. So I hope that this puts you to sleep. Me just hooting and hollering and chitting and chatting and whatnot. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hello to everybody that usually says hello to me in the comments and stuff. I've missed you guys. I thought about you often. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye bye.